All right, a final installment of the political roundtable this week will focus on the U.S. Senate race between incumbent Republican Richard Lugar and his primary challenger, Richard Mourdock. This week, Lugar, he's kind of in the fight of his political life, and this week he did announce that he has raised $1 million for his campaign.
And Mourdock is who, by the way?
Mourdock is the current state treasurer of Indiana and Tea Party favorite. And he's gotten the support of a majority of the county GOP chairman.
Yeah.
And
including Lake counties.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes, but not Porter counties.
Right. Or at least not yet.
Not
in
yet.
any case.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is that you look at Lugar's got $1 million that he raised in the first quarter, added that, so he's got what, $3 million total now, which is a pretty good war chest. That ought to help him quite a bit. Plus, he's got the experience in campaigning. What Mourdock has going for him is the arch conservative drive. He raised I think $159,000, if I remember right, in the first quarter, which was 3 times what he expected to raise. So he's thrilled at that. But $159,000, $1 million, there's a big gap.
Yeah, well, we may get a better indication once the federal election filings come out, and I think that's due at the end of the week. So, so fairly soon we should have a better picture of the comparison between the two campaigns. Not only how much money they have, but where their money's coming from. That's always interesting.
Right.
Well, one of the criticisms of Lugar has been that is head of the is at one time chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and still a big name in international politics, is that he likes to do things internationally, and does not pay enough attention to Indiana. That's been one of Mourdock's criticisms. How do you view that?
That criticism kind of bothers me, because in the U.S. Senate you need statesmen. We need veterans, people who have respect, who have relations with leaders throughout the world, people who can do some of that heavy lifting in terms of treaties, in terms of trade. Things you need that in the Senate.
I mean, how do you fault somebody for taking nukes out of the, keeping nukes out of the hands of terrorists?
Now,
I mean,
my question is, isn't that really part of his job? I mean, someone on behalf of this country has to negotiate with foreign powers. If not Lugar, then whom?
Right.
Then then are they going to be criticized by their home state for not spending enough time there? Someone's got to.
It absolutely is part of his job, and this is and this came up when we talked about redistricting. Is this increasing partisanship and these extreme missing out on the moderates in Congress, is that you lose that. You tend to have more parochial, narrower views from congressmen who aren't seeing the big picture. That you could argue that no one in the Senate has done more to keep Americans safe than Richard Lugar, because he has been the key behind securing loose nukes and reducing nuclear weapons.
Working with Iran,
working with Russia, in particular,
Russia, right.
And the former Soviet Union republics. Sure.
And one other thing that Lugar is noted for is that years ago, going back to when he was chairman of the Agriculture Committee, I believe, he was talking about trying to end agriculture subsidies for not just for sugar, which he's still pushing, but trying to go back to the fair trade, where you end the subsidies to farmers and corporations that own huge farms and so forth. So that if that would go through, that would make a huge difference in reducing federal spending, but it would also irritate a whole lot of farmers in rural Indiana and elsewhere who would see their incomes drop.
Can he afford to do that? And at the end of the day, how much is money going to factor into this, and how much is ideology going to factor into it?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. And
Dollars
that's what,
don't vote,
yeah.
but they sure have a lot of influence.
Right, and where is the state of Indiana's Republican Party? Where are they at? Are they at a point where they want their person in who's going to toe that party line? And that's the big question for Indiana's
And what is the
Republicans.
party line?
Oh, I was just going to say, where is the Republican? Where's the Democratic Party line? Where's the Republican Party line? We're seeing such a shift. We talk. There was talk years ago about Reagan Democrats, people who were Democratic in name, but really were more in tune with what Ronald Reagan was preaching. And I think you see people unwilling to jump ship from their party, but more willing to be open to what the opposition says.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Brian Howie's column that you'll read Sunday at nwi.com, as well as in the Times. Brian Howie being the publisher of Howie Politics Indiana. Brian's making the case in the governor's race that look, here's Mike Pence. He's running for governor, the presumptive Republican nominee, and he's very conservative, going against
he led the fight against Planned Parenthood.
Exactly, going
Congress.
against a Democrat who's very moderate, pro-life, pro-gun. That's going to be hard for the Republicans to oppose, even the conservative ones. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out in the battle of ideology too.
I guess I'm still going to ask the question I asked: is ideology more important than money? Lugar's got the money. Mourdock's got I think the more hardline ideological stance.
I don't think the answer is. I don't think the answer is clear, and I think that's we're waiting for this election.
Exactly.
That's why I think this election is so fascinating, because it will answer that question that we just don't know the answer to right now.
Or it'll raise other questions. We'll find out.
It'll give us something to talk about.
Sure.
Thank goodness.
That'll do it for this week. Thank you for watching, and be sure to join us next week for another edition of the Political Roundtable.